Please don't show that.
I will.
No.
Okay, ready? Record. Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee and Bible Time. I'm Ash and I'm here with Johnny, my fiance, who is soon to be my husband. Less than a month before we get married. So we're really excited and we're gonna have a wedding video coming out, so stay tuned. We asked you guys a bunch of questions.
Ashley said, Johnny, you're not allowed to talk in the video.
No, what do you want to say?
Nothing. We're just kidding.
Okay. So we asked you guys questions on Instagram and we got a ton of questions. So we're just gonna do a Q&A. I want you guys to get to know Johnny better and I want him to be a part of this channel because I know you guys love him. So let's get to it.
Okay, I'm in charge of the questions.
Also, yeah, he picked all the questions. I don't know what. I hope you didn't pick anything crazy.
So if I didn't pick your question and you hate me, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is a good question. Some of these are really good questions. Okay, how do you think quiet time and also Bible study will be similar and different after marriage?
Quiet time and Bible study? I mean, I think that we'll both have our separate things, but I want us to do things together too. But I still want to have like my own personal time with the Lord, but then I think that it's really important to seek the Lord together, like pray together and read scripture together, because I think a relationship is made up of so many things and the spiritual aspect is one of those things that's really important. So I think that's a good way to bond spiritually. What do you think?
Yeah, for the past decades, that's dramatic. For the past like 7 years, I've always enjoyed doing my time with Jesus through his word in a way that it was like, you know, on my pace, my way, the certain time, and I have certain habits, how I did it and what methods of scripture I used and all that stuff. And then when I met Ash and we were together, we would do it and we had to compromise certain ways. And it was hard for me because for the past 7 years I've done a certain way, same kind of quiet time resource that I use. And now we were like, hey, I want to study a passage with you. And so we compromised a certain passage that I already had picked and a method that I already used. And but one of the things that I was really encouraged was like, hey, we're both want to spend time with the Lord. And one of the beautiful things that we want to do it together, and we can commune with the Lord together. Sometimes the quiet time wasn't too quiet, but it was awesome that we're sharing thoughts and really things that we were thinking about and how God had spoken to us through that certain text in scripture. So one of the greatest gifts really of meeting Ash was the fact that she was so passionate. She's so passionate about scripture, and that we can come together and really grow in our love for Christ and his word, sharing our thoughts. So I don't know, we'll have to figure it out because we're not married, so we don't know what it looks like to do Bible study every single morning in the same place because we're doing distance, but we're excited.
But we're not gonna do we're still gonna have our own time with the Lord too.
And I wake up at a certain time and Ash wakes up at another certain time. So
maybe we'll schedule out times to do it together, like Saturdays or something.
Yeah, but that was a good question. A lot of questions about singleness. And I'm gonna make a video for you guys on that. And we have a lot in the past too, so I'll link those in the description. Hey friends, just wanted to pause this video here to say that Christian Ministry EDU is sponsoring this video today. Let's go check out their website for more information. Christian Ministry EDU is a one-stop shop when it comes to degree and professional guidance, and is structured to help students discover schools and career paths that match their spiritual mission. With program and career guides that span across Christian leadership and ministry positions, you'll be able to make an informed decision about your specific calling to serve. Learn more about how you can gain the tools to pursue your faith-inspired future today at christianministryedu.org.
Now, you guys know that this is Ashley speaking, and I got my degree in biblical studies. So I would highly encourage you to pursue ministry as a full-time career. I have no regrets doing that as my career. And if you feel like God is calling and tugging on your heart to do full-time ministry, I'd highly encourage you guys to check out this website.
So another question that came out was, what's the best way to focus on your singleness in college?
The best way to focus on your singleness, what does that mean?
While in college, if you're in college, what are ways that you can kind of
I even
grow
think
your singleness?
That question's kind of worded funny or not right. I don't even think you should focus on that in college. Your focus should be on, not on your relationship status, but on other things, like obviously first Christ, but like friendships and your education and like other things that are important. I mean, obviously, like, it can be a struggle when you're single and you desire to be married and you focus on your relationship status so much that it becomes an idol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know. That's what I would say. I don't know what else to say, but
Making s'mores here. Fire. No, that's true. Paul says to the church of Corinth, he tells them, hey, the way, one of the reasons that whether you're single or you're married, there's a purpose for both. And one of the things that he said for singleness is like, hey, use this time for your devotion. It doesn't say focus on your singleness. Focus like, in a way, I guess when you're single, you have to like, I don't have anybody with me, whether it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but like one of the greatest things that you do is to like maximize the season that you're in, whether you're married or single. And this question was, okay, if I'm single, how can I focus on being single? I think Ashley was spot on. It's not about a status. It's not like, okay, I gotta stay single. How do I focus on that? It's rather, how can I focus on my devotion to the Lord? And as you pursue that, God will be faithful in that season. But I think it's incredible, or it's really important that you realize, okay, I need to maximize the season that I'm in to grow in my devotion with Jesus, whether you're engaged or dating, whether you are single. But like focus on that. Don't focus on your status. Like Ashley said, focus on growing in your affection to Christ. And then God will take care of the rest in that season as well.
Yeah, I think it's easier said than done though, because I remember when I was in college, like, can they hear that music? Okay, we have neighbors who are playing loud music, so I'm sorry if you can hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Should we just keep going?
Should keep going and just be like a background music, right? Rock and roll.
It can be easy to focus on
this video.
I'm single and I wish I was married. At least that's how it was for me. So it's just a constant battle of like laying it down at God's feet and saying like, Lord, you're sovereign. Obviously, you don't have me in a relationship right now for a reason, and I'm going to trust you every day. So, next question.
What song is your neighbor listening to currently? Okay, so another question about singleness. This one is a recurring question. How to overcome the pain in the waiting season. Advice for singles.
How to overcome the pain in the waiting season. How to overcome the pain. I would say one of the biggest things for me was surrounding myself with godly friends. Obviously, like I said, number one, you turn to the Lord to fulfill that longing in your heart. And only He can fulfill your heart. But He's given us other people to have a relationship with. He said, man should not be alone. It's not good that man should be alone. And so in your singleness, you don't have to be alone. That's why a lot of people don't even like the word single. Because you're not single if you're surrounding yourself with other believers and Christians, especially in the church. So how do you soothe that pain of feeling lonely and like you don't have anybody is be with God's people. Surround yourself with godly friends. If you're not involved in a church, go get involved in a church and go get involved in community and serving and be with people, because we aren't supposed to be alone. And it's gonna feel more painful to be single if you're walking alone. So I would say pray and ask God to give you godly friends, and then actually go take action and go to a church, go to a community group, things like that.
And I think during Christmas last year, I preached a series on Jesus in his nature, and the fact that he's Emmanuel, that means God with us. And I think it's really easy to feel like, well, I am single and I'm lonely, right? And equate those things together. Right? I know people who are dating, they're lonely. I know people who are married and they're lonely, unfortunately. So the fact that you're alone doesn't mean that you're lonely. So I think those are things that you need to figure out. And as a church, as the church as a whole, we've done a horrible job really loving single people in our churches today. And I want you to understand that the fact that you're longing to be in a relationship is not bad. I mean, God made us, wired us. You see that from the very beginning in Genesis. God wired us to be in relationship with people, whether it's friendship or romantic relationships. So it's not bad to feel lonely. If you think of 1 Samuel, Hannah wanted to have a kid, and God didn't give her a kid, and she was suffering, she was struggling, and God met her in that pain. So God meets you in your pain, and you shouldn't neglect and ignore what you're feeling. Those are normal things, so don't feel embarrassed or shame of what you're feeling. But in that season, really, like Ashley said, I'll say something maybe, one word that Ashley and I don't like using the word busy, but maybe stay busy for the glory of God. Be plugged down in your church, develop relationship with people, start serving. And in that business for the glory of God within the local church, God is going to start doing something in you where like, wow, like I don't have to equate my singleness to loneliness, right? I can equate my singleness to like maximize my singleness to really fall in love with Christ, fall in love with his people, and be the person that God has created me to be a disciple, and to do great things in my community for his glory. So I think that's one of the things. Like, don't ignore your pain, embrace it, but in that process, really ask God to help you maximize that season that you're in.
Yeah. Also, to be very real and honest about this question, you were single till you were 25?
Yeah.
So like, I feel like, and then I was single till I was 23 or 24. And so I know like in the long run, that's actually pretty young, but like in the moment, it feels like it's hard. And I know even for you really struggled in your singleness. Yeah.
Especially when
wrestling through that.
Yeah, there were certain seasons where it was super hard and I was struggling bad, and I was like asking God, like, why am I in this season? Like, I really want companionship and enjoy companionship with somebody that I can spend the rest of my life with, and I had to trust him in the process, which is really probably something that you guys don't like hearing. It's like, oh, trust the process. That's kind of not nice, but and it's kind of easy to say it now that we are engaged, but really, I think that's one of the things that we had to do, and God was faithful to bring Ashley into my life, and we're getting hitched, okay?
Yeah, and it's not like when you do, and this is why I wanted to do a whole video on singleness. I told him that, but it's not like when you do meet that person, your whole life is complete. They're not meant to complete you. They're meant to complement you. So it's not like, oh, now that Johnny met me, or now that I met Johnny, like our life is like so much more fulfilled, or our hearts are more satisfied. If anything, it's like a constant battle of like sanctification and reminding ourselves that we're both broken people that need God every day.
Good, baby.
Hey guys, just wanted to pop on here to remind you that we now have courses at coffeeandbibletime.com. We have a Bible study course on John and going through what union language looks like in John. It's a very academic study, and I think you guys will love it. And then we also have 2 prayer courses, one prayer course on the prayer binder, and then another prayer course on the prayer journal. So if you guys are looking for further education in prayer and in Bible study, go check it out at coffeeandbibletime.com. I'll have it linked in the description as well.
Okay, there were a lot of questions regarding marriage counseling and if we did marriage counseling, but I think that one, there's one question that stuck out within that that I think a lot of couples don't talk about, and it's how are you going to handle your finances?
Do you want me to answer?
We can both answer.
We've both been answering, and this video is going to be 30 minutes long. Okay. No, it's okay. People like long videos anyways. How are we going to be handling our finances? We're going to have a budget. We've already planned kind of roughly like what we're going to be spending our money on, like rent, cars, food, the basic necessities of life.
Food.
But
food.
Yeah, food. We want to save, we want to pay off debt so as soon as possible. So that's kind of our plan. And we have a plan for now. We'll see how it goes once we get married. And we're just gonna loosely follow a budget. And I like what our marriage counselor told us. He said, don't make it the law. Which I'm like, it's important to stick to a budget and be like, kind of, these are my boundaries. This is how I'll be disciplined with how I'm spending my money. But it's not the law, and it's okay if things change and if unexpected expenses come up. So I'm hoping that we can like really be good at like the balance between saving, but then also like sometimes going on a vacation or like spending it on fun things too.
Yeah, we want to be good. We want to apply the principle of stewardship in a way that God, in a way that honors God. Everything, we've come to the understanding that everything we have, it doesn't belong to us. Even sometimes we think that, I work hard for this and I got money for this. But at the end of the day, nothing belongs to us. So all the money belongs to the Lord. So we need to understand and not have a hard grip on our material things. But at the same time, we want to be good stewards, how we spend our money. And so we, in our counseling, we learn a lot about like how can we be good stewards of the money that God's given us for each other and for the really advancement of His kingdom, So whether that's tithing, missions.
Yeah, everything.
So, okay, it's a good question. Navigating the end of the honeymoon phase.
Oh!
I'll start because this is
okay, go ahead. I don't know what you're gonna say.
One of the first things that we read a lot of books with Ash. I mean, if anything, probably we read over 5 books on marriage in this span of a year, over 5 books. And one of the things that some of these books said, especially remember the one from Gary Chapman, who's a really famous author and psychologist and biblical counselor. He would say that, hey, one day the honeymoon phase is gonna end, and then you'll have to figure it out how to love your wife on a regular basis. And I told Ash, like, no, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Like, we're gonna love each other, be cheesy for the rest of our lives. But then I really took that. I had to understand that maybe that's true, and but understood this, and this is my encouragement for you guys to understand that, man, love. And you've heard this before. Love is not a feeling. If love was a feeling, there would be even more divorces than there are today. If love was a feeling, the day that I don't feel like I'm loving Ash, I'm gonna walk on the door. Like, that's so silly. And so we need to understand that my love for Ash doesn't depend on how I'm feeling. Because there are some days that I'm loving her with all my heart, and some others they might be like, man, we had an argument and like I'm angry, or she's angry, or we're feeling some certain feelings towards each other. And so we need to understand, hey, on the day that we got married, we promised certain vows to each other to love each other when we on the best days and the worst days, when I'm healthy, when I'm sick, and I'm promised and I'm vowing, and really I'm doing all these vows to love you even in the best days, in the worst days, even when we feel like we love each other, even when I feel something, we need to understand those things. That is
like pushing. I'm like, okay, is this the Johnny show now?
Loving me when Ashley feels like I'm pushing her, but that's the reality. That at the end of the day, we might be super cheesy and cute with one another, but there's a day that's like gonna end, and I'm gonna be like, all right, I need to understand the importance of commitment.
Yeah.
My commitment to
and
Ash.
This was a question, I bet you didn't pick it, and it kind of goes with this, but like, how have you seen the difference between just like your dating relationship and versus being engaged? And I think like, I don't know if our honeymoon stage ran out, but like, we've definitely had much more of a reality of what, and like not even fully, like I'm sure reality will hit us more when we're married, but like more of a reality of what real life is like with somebody else, and like how we both have our issues, and we both have fights with each other, and we both get like annoyed or irritable. So like, and we've noticed that engagement has been a lot more fighting, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because like we're trying to learn how the other person is, and like we're trying to like, we're still immature young couple, like we don't know everything, we're like way at the beginning, and we still have like so much room to grow. But that relates to this honeymoon phase ending thing, because I think you just slowly start to get used to the other person, and you understand things about them, they understand things about you, and like, I think it's just normal.
And I think we should look at a relationship like, you know, as an iceberg, where like when we started dating, where we were meeting or getting to know each other, like, you know, we were in the surface level.
Yeah.
And they were like super like surface, like the conversation were not really deep, right? And as we got to know each other, we're going deeper into this iceberg. And it's been getting to a point where, like we're having really deep conversations where I'm like, well, we don't see eye to eye on this. But the deeper we go, the deeper my love for Ash becomes. And so that's the beauty of it, that so the deeper we go into this relationship, I love Ash even more. So I'm like, you know what? I might not agree with this, or I might not see eye to eye with her on this certain situation, but I'm committed to stay. And so I love her in spite of what I might feel in that certain morning. So.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that.
Yeah. Okay, let me see, because there was one that I really enjoy. How do your relationship change between dating and engagement, and what are some boundaries you guys set up during both seasons?
I just kind of answered that a little.
Okay. Well,
but are you talking about the boundaries part?
Yeah.
Because like, I said that how it changed between dating and engagement is we fought a lot more.
Yeah.
And we kind of were opened our eyes to more of reality. But what were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking about like certain boundaries in general. Like, for instance, one of the things that Ashley and I were super strict about is that, and it had to do with emotional boundaries, and it's when are we gonna start saying I love you? For some people, that's super silly. Like, oh, why would you set up a time when to say that? Well, for us, we understood that saying I love you early on would have attached each other emotionally way too fast to a point where it might not be appropriate. Like, a lot of people throw those words around like nothing. Like, oh, I love you, right? I love you, and I love you.
And if you've done that, no condemnation.
Right, yeah. And if you've done that, that's okay. And we're talking for each other. This is what we are doing. These are the boundaries that we're setting. But for some of you guys, that's not an issue, and that's awesome. But for Ashley and I, we understood like, hey, if we say I love you too early on, I think we're gonna attach ourselves in a way that is not really wise. And so those are the ways that we did emotionally. And I was the first person to say I love you. Kind of by mistake too, right?
By mistake. Well, because we said that we'll say I love you once we get engaged, if we get engaged. And that was actually his idea. I've never heard of anyone doing that before. Have you heard of anyone doing that?
I don't know.
Oh, you kind of made it up.
I think so. It's like Leviticus. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I liked that. Because I actually liked that, because then I knew you would have loved me, like would have said I love you before I was ready, and that could have like really scared me away.
Yeah.
Like if like a month into it you're like I love you, I would have been like
Yeah.
run for the hills, because that to me would have been like, oh my gosh, he's way ahead of me. But yeah, I think that was a good one. And anything else?
I think that's good. Now, how do we prepare for a healthy marriage?
That was another question. How do we prepare for a healthy marriage? I mean, what I think I've learned for this question is we're kind of over-preparers, and...
We're over-prepared?
Yeah. No, we're the type that's like, we're going to over-prepare. Like, we're going to read as many books. We're going to get a marriage counselor. We're going to make a budget. We're going to do all these things. And I think the biggest advice that I got was you can't be 100% prepared for marriage. Like, you just have to walk into it and like live day by day and trust God and love God, love the other person with your whole heart. So I think that if anything, like, we've been over preparing. I think that can almost be us having such a tight grip, or at least for me being like, I need to get as prepared I can to have like a perfect marriage. But in reality, I think a little bit of that I have to just like let go of and just live it day by day and use the principles that we learned in marriage counseling and in the books and everything like that. But yeah. And
there's this pressure, you know, a lot of people come up to us, and I would say 98% of the people that come up to us, even 99%, come up to us and they go, hey, how's wedding prep going? So everybody asks us about how the wedding day is going to be, and like how the details are, you guys, and how many guests, and what are you guys doing? What color are you picking for this and that? And so everything revolves around wedding prep, but nobody asks you, hey, how's marriage prep? Nobody asks you, it's like, are you having marriage counselors? Are you having marriage counseling? Are you guys reading books? Are you guys reading materials? Are you guys building a budget? Are you guys preparing for what's going to happen after this event that only lasts 5 hours in a day that probably no one will remember?
People will remember.
People will remember how they did it like
dramatic.
No, but I think it's true, because wedding is such a beautiful day that Ashley and I have been actually working really hard for the past few months, especially Ash. And so I've been trying to help as much as I can. But we've been working hard for this day that we're really looking forward to. That is going to mark something beautiful for the rest of our lives. But one of the things that we want to focus on is like, how are we preparing for the day after we get married till God calls us home to his presence, and like, how are we preparing spiritually, physically, emotionally, intellectually, and all those things that will we will experience every day, right? And so I think that we're working hard, and we might have theories and structures and all these things, but at the end of the day, it's gonna
theories
be like,
and structures that will be blown away.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
So, but we're excited.
Yeah, we're really excited. And all this to say, we have not had a perfect engagement or a perfect dating relationship. We've had our ups and downs. We've had many mistakes and times where we've had to ask for or just repent and ask for God's forgiveness and just learning and, you know, so it's definitely like a journey that you have to just... Maybe the biggest thing is say, Lord, I need you, and just continue pressing on.
Yeah.
So.
Can't wait to share
life together. Yeah. So if you guys want to see more of our life, we have a vlog channel. Me and my sister do, but you're going to be the third wheel now. Go check out our vlog channel, Coffee Girls. And go check out our Bible studies and prayer journals on our website. And we're just thankful for you for joining us today. And I think that's it. Do you want to say anything? I love you.
We love you guys. Bye.
We did it. Man, you're meant to be behind the camera. You're meant to be behind the camera, huh?